Hi, my name is Eftekher, and in this video we will learn about how we can unleash our brain to learn anything fast. So the problem is we start learning something and it takes forever, and then we get lost and we give up. So let's look at some ways we can prevent that and learn anything fast. Nobody is born smart. We all start at zero. At first, we can't talk, can't walk, certainly can't do algebra, adding numbers, reading, writing, or riding a bike. Nobody is good at anything at first. There was a time when even Einstein couldn't count to 10, or Shakespeare, who had to learn ABCs just like the rest of us. We are born to learn. At first, we make mistakes, we fall, we crawl, we get frustrated, we get confused, but one day we learn how to walk. Failing is another word for growing, and we grow every day. Mistakes does not mean it's bad. It's a way of growing. One foot in front of another, one mistake after another mistake, one idea after another, and somehow this all makes our brain stronger. Even though you do not get it at first, knowing that you will get it, and by making mistakes and getting your brain stronger every day, you are able to learn something really good. The most complex ideas of the world are based on simple ideas, and they are built on simple ideas that anyone, anywhere in the world can understand. You can learn anything you want. Why? Because they're all based on small and simple concepts. And even though you will fail, but slowly and surely, if you keep trying, one day your brain will be stronger and you will be able to learn it. Now we will learn about how we can learn anything fast. How we can get our mind to learn anything fast. Now that we believe we can learn anything, it's possible that we can learn anything. Here are the steps. Step number 1. Decide what you want to learn first. If you like to learn something, your brain is wired to help you learn it. So you want to decide that you want to learn a concept, and then we will move on to the next step. So first, even if you don't like something, decide what you want to learn. It's very obvious, common sense, but still you want to have your mind ready to learn. Step 2 would be to break it down and decide what you want to learn the most. Meaning you want to use the 80-20 principle, where you want to only learn one or two things. So this way you can focus on the major things that will impact the most. Let's say you want to focus on everything. What will happen? You will end up learning almost nothing. You will be lost. So you want to focus on one or two things that will impact the most. For example, you want to learn how to play soccer. So you want to focus on the basic fundamentals and the basic skills. This will give you almost 80% or more results. And from there, you can learn more skills. Step 3. It will be to have laser-like focus. So we are always doing many things at once, and our focus is always divided into many things. Therefore, we are not able to learn something quick. So you want to focus like laser-like focus. Therefore, you will learn something quicker. So how do you focus laser-like? You want to break down your time into 25 minutes, and you want to study or focus on something for 25 minutes straight. And then you want to take only 5 to 10 minutes short break and come back again and do 25 minutes for more. And after you have done four times 25-minute sessions, you can take a longer rest. So you want to focus, laser focus, and you want to be not distracted and focus on one thing at a time. Now, why do I say this? Because scientists have found that our attention span only lasts 25 to 30 minutes of our first study session. So when we are studying something, we want to focus on it for 25 minutes. After that, our attention span is no longer with us, meaning it's better for us to take a break than study. Step 4. Learn by doing. When we read, we only learn 10%. When we watch a video, we learn 20%. When someone demonstrates something to us, we learn 50%. And when we practice something, we learn 70%. But we learn the most by using what we have learned, and we learn 90% information. We retain the information longer as well. So when you want to learn something next time, you have to want to use it as soon as you learn it. Let's say you are reading a book. Most people, if you ask them, what have you learned from this book after they finish this book, their response most likely would be, I'm not sure, but it's a good book because they have only read the book and they only gained and retained 10% information. And if they were to listen to the audiobook and read the book as well, they would be saying, I remember some stuff, maybe 1 or 2 points, but not that much. But they have spent like a week or a month to read this book. So a good idea would be learning anything and at the same time using what you have learned. So maybe every day you want to focus on learning 3 things from the thing you are learning and focus on what you have learned, what 3 things you have learned today, and use it in your life or use it when you are doing things accordingly. So let's take the example of soccer. So you want to learn soccer. First thing you should do, maybe watch a video about a skill, a basic skill like passing. So you see how, which part of the foot they use to pass and how and which speed you should pass and everything. So you learn and you now know some information about this concept, passing, a basic skill. Now you didn't really learn much. You learned only 20% of the information. What is a good idea to do right now would be to do some practice, but you will gain only 70%. So you want to use this skill and play around with it until you gained 90% information, until you're confident. The more you do, the more you learn. So next time you want to learn something, use it right away or whenever possible, because if you just read something or write something or listen to something or watch something, you would just basically learn maybe at most 70% information. So you want to always aim to learn something and use it as soon as you learn it. If it's not useful, why even learn it? Step number 5 would be to be persistent, to not give up. Most of us as human beings, we tend to give up almost all the time for a certain reason. Number one reason is money or time, or you have fear or doubt or lose of interest. When we do that, we tend to give up due to this one of these reasons, and then we don't really come back to this thing, or we take forever to come back to it, and we feel like we have wasted so much time or energy to do or to learn this and feel disappointed. So number one important solution for this would be to be persistent and not give up. So scientists found that one thing that is really important is that you should not give up, because there's a learning curve. So you are learning, you are really interested in learning something, and then it goes like this, and then suddenly it drops, and everybody just gives up on this point. But if you are persistent, it goes back like this. So basically the graph, there's a graph, it's gonna go like this, go down. So if you can be patient in this moment and be persistent, after some time of work and practice, you'll realize you are really good at this thing. So let's say you're learning soccer and you are in a moment where you know a little, but you realize that it's taking time, you have to go to work, you have school, so you give up, right? And then you don't come back to it, therefore you feel like you don't know much about soccer. So what you can do is have some small amount of time every day destined or scheduled for this work. This way you don't give up, you plan to not fail, and you be patient. Sometimes it's gonna be really hard to be persistent, because as human beings we don't like to do things for too long, but look at the outcome, what you will gain by it. So you want to be persistent in that down moment. After some time you realize you are really good at this, you will gain confidence, and boom, you learned it, you'll be a pro at it. So you want to be persistent and not give up on that thing you're learning. Another thing that really helps, step number 6, is going to be exercise, because when we exercise our body releases a lot of chemicals that makes us happier, therefore more energy for us. And when we have more energy, we want to do things that makes us happy, or we want to do more things, we become active. The more active you are, the more work you can do. Therefore, if you exercise every day or regularly, you will be able to do things a lot easier, a lot faster, and be more productive. Therefore, I think it's a really good thing to do exercise regularly. Step number 7, sleep. When we sleep, our brain restructures itself to make itself stronger. Therefore, you will be learning things faster. So sleep is a very crucial thing in our learning cycle, because we have to retain the information, we have to store it, and our brain has to structure itself to understand and use it properly. So therefore sleep is very important. Sleep is very important because when you don't have enough of it, you will have difficulty learning. So for example, do you remember a day when you actually felt really sleepy and you wanted to learn something but your mind wasn't into it? Or sometimes you woke up before you had enough sleep and you had to do work because you're forced to, and how did your brain react to it? Not really good, right? So because our brain are functioned in a way that when we have enough sleep, we want to learn and we want to store things because we feel refreshed and our brain is ready, it's restructured and it's ready to function as it should be. But when you don't have enough sleep, your body is not ready, your brain is not ready, therefore you will have difficulty learning. Before learning, sleep is really important. So when you have good enough sleep, you will have no problem learning and you will retain information much easier. Also, your brain structure will be ready for you to help you with your learning. The last and the best step is to teach the concept to someone else. When you learn something, always learn with the intention that you're going to teach it to someone else. When you do that, your brain breaks down the complex concept into simpler form. This way, anyone can understand what you are trying to teach. So when we teach, we have to make it in a way that people understand us. Therefore, our brain also learns it better because we have broken down the big concept or the hard concept into small and simpler form. Let's say you want to teach soccer to someone and you want to teach the passing skill to someone. Then first of all, you have to know what you're talking about. Therefore, you will practice and you will practice the important ones, the things that matter, or else people will not understand what you're trying to say. And if you want to be an effective teacher, you have to first understand it. Therefore, you are learning it. So the best way to learn is to teach.